Hi, I'm Blake Neely. I'm a composer. I live in Los Angeles. I've done over 35 television series. I don't know how many films, documentaries, and I'm here to write music. It's kind of all I know how to do. So I've had the privilege of knowing Trolls and Tanya for years, and they've been flirting this idea of Soundpaint for too long. It's finally here. And I recently visited them, and I sat with my dear friend Trolls, and he said, just play around with it. This is our, and he hadn't really explained the technology behind it, but he was very excited about this whole idea of non-velocity. But he said, just play this. Like, what's something you love? And I said, I've always loved your 1928 Steinway piano. It is one that I go to all the time in my music. And I sat and started playing it, and I stopped. And he was like, what's happening? And I said, oh my God, it's like, that's how I play piano. Holy fuck.
You feel it?
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's just a feeling.
It feels like when I'm playing my piano at home.
It feels like a real
piano at home. And I can't.
It's the part.
When I play this piano, which is my favorite piano you've ever produced, I love it, but I have to go in and adjust all the velocity because I'm like, I know I'm a little bit better piano player than that because, but I've never had like that touch to it. Wow, wow. When can I have it? Wow. Now can I program some shit?
You can do whatever you want, man.
Oh my God, it's like, that's how I play piano. Because for me, it was this instant trust of, look, I'm not a great pianist, but I've been playing the piano since I was 4 years old. So I know when I hit that key, I know exactly how I want it to sound. And with sampled instruments, it's maybe, oh, that's it. And I spend so much time adjusting my playing. And I said to him, and I said to Tanya after, like, this is trust. This is trust in a sampled instrument, which I've never been able to say, really, about a sampled instrument. For me, growing up in the 80s, I played piano, but then I, of course, got into synthesizers, and they're very mushy keyboards, and you kind of have to adapt. And there's this, to Troll's credit, ladder of technology that you have to kind of go through. And once we got to sampled pianos, it's like, yeah, but now I have to find a controller that plays it right. Then I find like the best controller I can find. I played controllers for years and I kept adapting, and I finally have one that I like and I trust. But then you're limited with the sample technology. So when I sat down and played this, and let me tell you, I have played this 1928 Steinway for years now in all of my scores. And for it to feel like I was playing a different instrument blew my mind. It was, and this is no smoke up their ass, it's literally the same instrument played with different technology. Feels like when I play my piano on my stage, my Yamaha, I'm like, that's how I play piano. Good or bad, but that's how I play piano. So I know when I play it, that's how I want it to sound. And that's what Soundpaint has instantly done for me. Even before I get under the hood and start exploring all the crazy sounds that they have. Just with the one, free library they have. Dude, that's exactly what I wanted to play, and it played it. There have been many a night with Trolls and Tanya where I actually got to play the actual 1928 Steinway. It's funny for me as a composer to have finally connected with these people to give me so many samples. When I walked in their house and I was like, wait, is that the 19... And Tanya's like, that's the one. And I went and sat and played it. And I thought to myself, why does this sound nothing like the 1928 Steinway that I have? Because I was playing it through an engine that wasn't allowing me to feel all the richness of it. And then Troll sits down next to me and we write a crazy duet. And like, that's the 1928 Steinway to me.
Okay, ready? We have no idea what we're gonna do. Ready?
Okay, yeah.
And I'm not just here to talk about that sample library. I just think it is the epitome of what Soundpaint can give you. And then when you go beyond that to the ambience and the guitars and the basses and the synths, I mean, let's not even get into 808s yet. That's what Soundpaint's about, is that trust, that realism, that authenticity that I just don't think any other engine brings you right now. It just hasn't been done. I do so much work that I'm constantly trying to find ways to save time. So if I do something 3 times, I create a quick key. But you just can't create quick keys when you're using sample libraries and you're using a DAW instrument. So what Soundpaint blew my brain is how fast you can find a sound that you're looking for through the search, through just a load. I mean, just one click is a brilliant move, right? You one click and there's my sound. And if I don't like that sound, I can instantly switch it. I can switch a part. I can move a program. I can, even when you get into effects, like the effects are so easy to load, so easy to use, so easy to get your head around. If I'm buying a new engine, my first thought is, how much time is this going to take me to learn? And I learned Soundpaint in about 2 days, if I'm being honest. I don't know it as well as some people, but I would say the learning curve was about 2 days. And for me, that's a huge savings of time. And then when I'm bringing it into my workspace and I'm using it, I mean, it's like instantly, I want this, it's there, and I can start creating with it immediately. With film and TV scoring, your templates can become so vast, so wide. Like my writing template is over 600 tracks. And it takes a while to load a sequence. It's sometimes like, I'll go make a coffee while it loads, I'll come back and write. I have built a template with Soundpaint that has over 120 tracks and loads in 5 seconds. And that's not frozen, that's not turned off, it's just alive and ready to go. So if I'm ready to make music, I better be ready in about 5 seconds because it's gonna be ready for me. One of the things that over the years I've really gotten to know about Trolls and Tanya and just the model behind ATO is their ethos of their company, and it really comes through with everything you play. It is this idea that everything starts from a passion for sound, and if you don't love the sound, you're not going to use it. And I think that through the years of talking with Trolls about his theories, it's sort of where he starts when he starts recording something. So when I hear a string sample, a piano sample, even a drum sample, I know that that has been crafted and massaged and curated with only one idea, which is the passion for sound. And so there's never a dead sample in this library. There's just never a dead, I can't use that. Sure, it might be too crazy. You're gonna find something for it. And for someone like me, I have too many things. I'm gonna find something for everything. One of the things that I love about outboard gear and analog synthesizers is because they just feel so real. They're like a one-trick pony. But to make them something that is yours and no one else has, you have to add effects and add effects and add more outboard gear. that becomes a problem if you want to, you know, open an old cue and reuse a cue, or just make the same, just tweak your music, because it's not always going to be the same. So then plugins came in, and we load an instrument in another engine, and you just then start having to add effects on the channel strip. And it's great, it's worked for years, but it just becomes cumbersome. And I've literally started thinking about it in terms of the old days of, I gotta patch another pedal or patch another reverb. What's crazy about Soundpaint is all that stuff's in the same box. So you load a sample, you load an effect, you load a compressor, you load a delay, you load an arpeggiator, you load a sequence, all in the same box. And then, wait for it, right click anything, you can assign it to any CC control you want, and then complete control of the instrument, the effects, the reverbs, the arpeggiator, the notes on the release samples, everything is under your, not only fingertips, but within your sequence. And I don't know any other engine that does that. Years ago, I was sitting with Trolls and Tanya, and Trolls asked me a very simple question, which was not really about his company or where I was going. It was just getting to know you. It was, what are you excited about? Like, what musically is something you'd be excited about? And I had this current obsession at the time about morphing. Like, there was this Photoshop morphing thing that was happening with like the Michael Jackson video at the time, and I was like, wouldn't it be cool to see what it sounded like if you played an oboe but it morphed into a violin? And we had this long discussion about it, and it went away for about 5 years. And then the phone rang, and he said, I have this interesting concept, and this is now what you have in Soundpaint. You have actual morphing of instruments. It's not crossfade, it's not a layer, it's not unison playing, it is an actual morph. It's like if you played a piano and then it morphed into a choir, here's what it would sound like. And again, blew my mind. If that's what you can do now. You can actually say, I want to hear an oboe turn into a violin, but you can control it. You can say, I want to have a little bit more oboe, a little less violin, or a little bit more violin, a little less oboe. And that is just a crazy fun thing that we can do now in the 21st century with Soundpaint. One of the things that I love in Soundpaint is you load a program and it has all these little modular segments to it. It's got the modular effects, the ADSR, all these things that I want to tweak when I'm composing, but sometimes don't really know how to get to because you got to go under the hood. And in most engines it's super complex, it's super foreign to you, but it's just, in Soundpaint, it's just a little module. If you don't want to deal with it, you can get rid of it actually. I kind of love that in Soundpaint, it becomes a modular experience. Almost like a guitar player with pedals. Add the ones you want, don't add the ones you're not going to use. And so I add these pedals and I suddenly have a shimmer delay, or I have, or shimmer reverb, or whatever, a compressor. And I can deal with those modules. And this is not a good idea. I just exit out. I haven't loaded any memory. I'm just all in the same thing. And then once I love it, I can save it as a program. And I can even send that program to a friend of mine that has Soundpaint or a co-writer. And we have the exact same sound on our computer. And it's that easy. And it's that quick. And it uses no space on the hard drive or the RAM. I'm just very excited where this technology is going to go, because it is a game changer for me as a composer. And talking with my friends, I cannot imagine where we're at now, what's coming with legato instruments, which I understand is soon. So I'm ready.